Sup you beautiful people. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Welcome back to another new episode of What If Naruto was taken by Yoda and trained to become a Jedi Knight. If you guys enjoy this what if, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel after watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So now let's start this video. Siri's day had been going rather well, and then she received news that almost gave her a heart attack. She was not pleased. Scratch that, she was pissed. You left him behind, she shouted as Obi-Wan winced at the volume of her voice and shrank down a little, fearing the wrath of an angry sister. We didn't have a choice. The pilots were hit, and Naruto told us to help them, and Kenobi tried to explain, but the female Jedi wouldn't have any of it. And you just listened to him, what were you thinking, Obi-Wan? He could be in serious trouble right now. Siri all but shouted. Calm yourself, my Padawan will be fine. They all turned to the voice of Master Plo Koon, as he calmly walked up to the group, causing Obi-Wan to release a sigh he didn't know he was holding. He didn't want to be on Siri's wrong side. But Master, he's still just a kid. How could you leave him behind? She questioned as Plo Koon sighed. Siri, you should have more faith in Naruto. He survived one war, he can survive another. Plo Koon reasoned as Siri calmed down somewhat, but threw glares at Kenobi and Plo Koon. The guards let go of her after seeing that she was calmed down. I have faith in him, more faith than anyone in this temple, Master Plo, even you. But Naruto has been stuck there for weeks, she muttered out. She felt so helpless right now. She just wanted to jump into her fighter and go and get him back, but even she knew that option was out of the question for now. I understand how you feel, Siri, but there is nothing we can do right now. Plo Koon said solemnly. Obi-Wan could only look at the two with confusion. It was clear that Siri went against the traditions of the Jedi Order by forming an attachment, but Master Plo Koon. He was also showing some form of attachment with his Padawan. So, where is your master, Obi-Wan? Siri questioned as she narrowed her eyes. He's with the council. Obi-Wan answered, noticing that Siri's anger was directed at his master somewhat. Probably because Qui-Gon ordered the ship to take off without him. Why is he still with the council? She questioned as Obi-Wan started to explain the little journey they had been on. Finding a slave boy named Anakin, whose midi-chlorian count was extraordinarily high, even higher than Master Yoda's. Siri scoffed at that, countering that Naruto's count was high too. Siri, it was over 20,000. Obi-Wan said sternly. Siri immediately shut up, her mouth agape. Naruto and Yoda's counts were definitely high, but nowhere near that. With the council. Upor and Sisa strongly protested as he stared down at Qui-Gon, who was standing behind a young boy. Qui-Gon had presented Anakin to the council a few minutes ago, and had asked that he be admitted into the Jedi Order, but it did not go well. With all due respect, Master Jedi, we've already broken away from tradition. Qui-Gon stated as some of the master raised an eyebrow, but it was Shakti who questioned him. And what do you mean by that? She questioned as Qui-Gon gulped. Shakti's tone wasn't that of some who asked a question, but rather of someone who was daring him to answer. He had to pick his words carefully. I am referring to Naruto Uzumaki, of course. He answered, and just like that the temperature in the room fell a little. He could feel the stares some of the Jedi Masters were sending him. While Masters Mundi, Fisto, and even Master Yoda were quite supportive of Naruto, there was a silent majority that still opposed his actions. Young Naruto is a special case. Sense the darkness inside him, we all do. But the darkness in young Skywalker, much more insidious, it is. His fear controls his actions, and too, his destiny. It was Master Yoda who decided to break the silence that seemed to have lasted for what seemed hours. Master Qui-Gon turned to look at Master Yoda, and simply stared at him. Master Yoda, surely you must consider Anakin a special case as well. He is a chosen one. His potential in the Force is unlike anything we've ever seen. Qui-Gon stated as Yoda hummed with his eyes closed. He was in deep thought, in mediation with the Force to find an answer. The boy is too old. Past cases aside, he will not be allowed to join the Order. Naruto was allowed because he failed many of the tests we presented to him. It was Mace Windu who stated. While passing a test was what one would want, it was opposite for those who were to join the Order. Since it was children who were brought to the Order, they were tested with imagery to see how much they knew of technology. That was but one of the tests to see the knowledge of the potential youngling. I will train him, then. On my own if need be. Qui-Gon stated as he set his hands onto Anakin's shoulders as the council sighed. Qui-Gon, while a great Jedi, was often quite disobedient regarding the council's wishes. But this was a matter of breaking the Jedi Code. No master could have two apprentices, lest the apprentices be driven to recklessly outdo one another. Whether or not Obi-Wan was ready for the trials was another matter. The council did not want Anakin trained. Naruto was already quite a problem, they couldn't handle another one like him. Naboo. As the city of Theed had fallen to the droid armies, a resistance was formed to combat the droids, and leading them were some high-ranking guards and one Jedi Padawan. The droids are positioned here, here, and here. A resistance fighter marked the positions on the map as some high-ranking officers gathered around the table in a dimly lit room. What if we attack here at the command center, causing a diversion, and attack the armory here? One of the resistance officers offered up a plan, outlined his plan while others analyzed it. No, there are simply too many of them posted near the viceroy. He'll panic and order more droids to defend him. Our diversion team will be overwhelmed in no time. Another officer stated as the others sighed. No matter what, they were simply outnumbered and outgunned. The young man slammed his fist onto the table in excitement. We have a Jedi. We can take them on, he stated as the others shook their head. He managed to destroy one of their blockade battleships just by planting a handful of bombs in their cargo ships. Surely he can take down a regiment of droids, he continued. A Jedi may be worth 100 droids, but there are thousands out there. Naruto can only handle so many before he's finished. One of the older officers fired back as the room descended into semi-chaos, as each of the officers began to voice their own concerns, ideas, battle plans and so on. Enough. The self-appointed commander of the resistance force shouted out as everyone turned to face him. Grigor Tifel was a man who took after his uncle, a man of leadership. Mere hours after Theed was invaded by the Trade Federation, Grigor was the first to organize a resistance force made up of the Naboo security force and other locals who volunteered to repel the invaders from their planets. He was ultimately still their chosen leader, and the Jedi was considered his second in command. Although some of the more experienced officers they rescued from prison had begun to undermine his efforts in the past week. This is no time to quarrel with each other. Our people are suffering under the Trade Federation, and here we are, fighting amongst ourselves. It doesn't matter if we have a Jedi, we are still outnumbered so long as we bicker amongst ourselves. Grigor said as the others looked towards him and continued the yelling match. It didn't matter how well equipped the resistance was, most of the people here were young boys eager to prove themselves and get into the action, and a couple of grizzled old veterans set deep in their ways. Boy, start running. We got gears inbound, Naruto warned as he burst through the door, a bit out of breath. Grigor gave him a serious look as he approached him. How many? Grigor asked urgently as Naruto scratched his head, pondering about how many had been chasing him. I don't know, maybe 400, could have been 5. Naruto answered as Grigor quickly turned around, looking at the completely dumbfounded officers, awestruck that Naruto managed to escape from that many droids. Gather your men, and start evacuating now, Grigor ordered, and the officers hurried out of the room, all intent on completing the order they were given. Grigor then turned towards Naruto once more. Naruto, can you delay them? He requested the blonde Jedi, who nodded with a grin. Hell yeah, leave it to me, Naruto replied as he turned and ran out of the door he had come thought to have a good fight. As he ran out the building and rounded a corner, he spotted a squad of battle droids. Halt, you're under arrest, one of the droids declared as Naruto scoffed and activated his saber. No, you're under arrest, he shouted back as the droid looked to his compatriots, confused profusely at Naruto's statement. No, the droid answered, being unable to compute what Naruto had stated, but it was too late as Naruto was already upon them, slicing the droid clean in half before he cut down a few more. It wasn't long before more arrived and opened fire at the teenage Jedi, but at this point he was simply too close. As the droids fired, Naruto dodged and deflected the bolts. With each droid he cut down, he brought his saber up to deflect a bolt back at another droid. He had cut down several dozen in just a few short minutes. Is that all you got? Naruto shouted out as he sent a powerful force push, throwing back an entire group of droids into one big pile of scrap metal. Still, the number of droids was overwhelming, and Naruto heard the hum of two Ots turn the street corner. He grit his teeth and began to cut down as many droids as he could before they arrived. Naruto. Naruto looked back, hearing his name. He spotted Grigor and a few of his men armed with heavy weapons. He nodded, figuring out the plan in but a moment. Cutting down one last droid, he used the force to jump high up into the air and onto a building to his right, as the droid tanks turned their main weapons up at him. Fire. Grigor shouted out as the soldiers fired Plex missiles, completely obliterating the first Ot, but second one pushed the wreckage aside and fired at Grigor's group, as they reloaded their rockets. Naruto quickly made his way to Grigor's side and scanned the battlefield. Grigor, aim at the skybridge I was just on, Naruto said, pointing at the large structure connecting two buildings. Grigor looked towards it and nodded. You heard him, fire, he shouted out as the rockets were sent smashing into the overhead, causing it to come crashing down on top of the Ot and blocking the pathway, preventing any more droids coming from that direction. However, another battalion turned the corner. We held them back long enough, let's go, Grigor ordered as he, his men and Naruto ran from their current position and headed to one of the few hideouts the resistance had left. Coruscant, 2 days later. While Naruto and the resistance were fighting a losing battle against the droid army on Naboo, the situation in Coruscant was not looking good either. The Queen of Naboo had called for a vote of no confidence in Supreme Chancellor Valorum, after Naboo's Senator, Palpatine, convinced her that the current Chancellor was weak and stuck under the thumbs of the bureaucrats. With the Senate thrown into chaos, and Naboo under the Trade Federation's iron grip, the Queen decided that the only one who could save Naboo was she herself. I assume that you plan to come with me, Master Jedi. The Queen questioned as Obi-Wan and Plo Koon nodded. The Jedi Council has agreed that the situation on Naboo is not your average ordeal. We believe in other forces at play. Plo Koon answered as the Queen turned and boarded her ship. She cared not for the Jedis and their objectives, she only cared for her people. Master, you cannot be serious. We are going into a war zone, why bring Anakin to it? Obi-Wan spoke up, finally having enough of his master's unusually behavior towards the boy. Naruto was still young when he stepped onto a battlefield. I'm confident Anakin can handle it, too. Qui-Gon responded as Obi-Wan sighed. Naruto was trained in the ways of the Force prior to the Mandalorian Civil War. Anakin still has no knowledge of it. Obi-Wan reasoned. Qui-Gon shot him a trust my judgment look that basically ended the conversation. With another deep sigh, Obi-Wan began to board the ship. Plo Koon was about to follow, but was spotted by a shout. Wait. I'm coming too. He heard a shout as he turned around to find Siri running up to him. Raising an eyebrow, he hummed at her appearance. Did the council send you? Plo Koon questioned as she gave him a stern smirk. Of course. She answered as Plo Koon nodded warily and began to board the vessel. Siri quickly followed, intent on saving Naruto from whatever danger he was in, even if it meant disobeying the council. Boarding the ship, she made herself familiar with the surroundings of it. Who are you? She turned around and came face to face with one of the handmaidens. Siri narrowed her eyes, something in her gut was telling her that this one was bad news. Siri Tachi, Jedi Padawan. I am here to assist your queen on this mission. Siri answered, better to keep her true mission known. The handmaiden raised an eyebrow. Really? I didn't expect the Jedi Council would need to send 5 Jedi to help my people. She said condescendingly, almost as if she was ungrateful towards the Jedi Order. Siri narrowed her eyes and gave the handmaiden a glare. This girl had just insulted the whole Jedi Order, in particular Naruto. I don't know what you think of the Order, but know that it is one of ours that was left behind on Naboo. It was one of ours who chose to stay behind while you all left. But I would let you sit here and insult his sacrifice. Siri spoke angrily as her glare grew dangerous. No one insulted Naruto within her presences and got away with it. It is my people who are suffering, millions of people are suffering. They have all made sacrifices. The Jedi were too late to warn Naboo of the impending invasion, and chose to run rather than stand and fight. And while I am grateful for what you've done so far, but it still means little so long as the Federation occupies my home. The handmaiden fired back. Siri started to lift her hand. There you are. Come on, the masters are waiting. Obi-Wan butted in, giving a nervous chuckle as he dragged the angered Padawan away. Once they were far away, he turned to face her, a frown on his face. What are you doing? Obi-Wan questioned as Siri snorted. She insulted him and I won't stand for it. Siri stated as she turned on her heels and went to find a place to sit down and relax. Obi-Wan sighed. He just couldn't understand how she could just brazenly speak to her like that. Look, I care about Naruto as much as any Jedi, but you seriously need to reevaluate your feelings for him, Siri, or else I worry you might walk a dark path. Obi-Wan commented, causing her to face him with a scowl. I don't care. He's the only one I care about and I'll be damned if I leave him to fend for himself. She stated as she left, leaving Obi-Wan in slight shock. She was very protective of Naruto. Far too much. Naboo. Damn, it doesn't matter how many we destroy or how far we go, they just keep sending more. Naruto complained as he and Grieger walked ahead of a group of resistance fighters, traveling through one of the thick forests of Naboo. There has to be nearly 1 million battle droids. Our forces are hopelessly outnumbered and outgunned. We need the Gungan to aid us. Grieger stated as Naruto nodded. The Gungan had an army that could be used to fight the Trade Federation. You really think that the Gungans will help? Last I heard, they don't like a surface-dwelling lot. Naruto questioned as Grieger sighed. They're going to have to, or else their cities will fall to the Federation army as well. Grieger reasoned. The Gungan lived in hidden cities built in swamps and were quite hidden from the rest of the world. As the group of resistance fighters moved through the swamp, they began to get closer and closer to one of the city's location. Are you sure that the city is located here? Grieger questioned as they stopped in front of a swampy lake. Naruto nodded. Yeah, the masters said they had a huge city under this lake. Naruto stated as he took off his light brown Jedi robe and did some stretches. Guard this position, I'll be right back. Naruto stated as he took a deep breath and dived into the water. Grieger turned to his fighters and quickly formed a defensive perimeter around the area. An hour later. The full whole hour went by as nothing happened. Grieger and his group of fighters were still waiting for Naruto to come back, however, as they waited they spotted movement in the bushes. Quickly leveling their weapons, they waited, however lowered their weapons as they noticed that it wasn't droids, but rather members of the Naboo security forces, along with Jedis and a Gungan. Uncle. Grieger confirmed as he spotted his uncle, Quarsh Panaka. Quarsh raised an eyebrow at him. What's going on here? What are you doing here? he questioned as Grieger approached him. We are here with a Jedi to get help from the Gungan. Grieger answered as Ciri approached the young resistance leader with a serious look on her face. A Jedi? Does he happen to have blonde hair, blue eyes, and whiskers on his cheeks? She questioned, with a determined and a concerned look on her face. Grieger blinked as he nodded. Yes, he has been leading the front lines in most of our battles. He's quite the swordsman and a very good saboteur as well. Grieger complimented as Ciri smiled happily. Naruto was getting better by the day, it seemed like. She shook her head and gave the leader of the resistance a serious glare. Where is he? She questioned as Grieger gulped. She didn't look quite happy, no, more like angry. As he was about to answer, they heard a splash of water and some gasping for air. They turned their attention towards the lake as Naruto emerged from the lake, using his chakra-infused hands to lift himself on top of the water that seemed to behave like solid ground. Damn, the whole city is abandoned, Naruto stated as he reached the shoreline. Naruto. He heard a familiar voice as he looked up. Ciri? He questioned as she was upon him in mere moments. Her arms held him tightly, and her face was plastered with joy. Thank the Force, you're okay, she cried as she kept on hugging him. Naruto blushed in embarrassment as he also put his arms around her, not sure how to handle the situation. Ciri pulled back a bit with a slight frown on her face. Don't you ever do this to me again, she said as Naruto chuckled nervously as he nodded, not wanting to get on her bad side. While the two talked, the rest of the group talked amongst one another. If what Naruto says is true, then the Gungan must have gone into hiding, Qui-Gon stated as they all pondered where the Gungans must have gone. They needed their help, but with the Gungans in hiding, their job had become a tad more difficult. It was at this moment that Jar Jar stated how the Gungan would often retreat to a sacred place to hide in times to great peril. With this new revelation, the group began to ready themselves for the small journey. I'm glad to see you're still alive, Padme spoke as she approached Naruto. Naruto raised an eyebrow as he nodded. Why wouldn't I be? I'm a Jedi, Naruto proclaimed as she smiled a bit at the blonde's enthusiasm. Yes, you are a Jedi, but not even Jedi are immune to death, she stated as Naruto shook his head. There's no death, only the Force, he countered as she raised an eyebrow. What is that supposed to mean? She questioned as Naruto hummed. The Force is all around us, it is what made us. Therefore, we return to it when we die. That is why there is no death, only the Force, he elaborated as she slowly nodded, understanding the concept behind it. Well, I must take my leave. The Queen needs me, Padme stated with a smile as she began to leave, leaving Naruto to watch her retreating figure. I don't like her, he heard Ciri's voice. Turning up towards her, he raised an eyebrow. I think she's pretty fine, Naruto stated slyly as Ciri scoffed. And she cares about her people. She's just too emotional right now, Naruto reasoned as Ciri folded her arms. I still don't like her, she proclaimed. The quick review of Naruto's words had suddenly made her realize what it was he exactly meant by fine, as younger blonde chuckled and stood up. Naruto Uzumaki, you perverted little brat, Ciri huffed, her cheeks turning red. Big brat, I'm as tall as you now, he retorted, head held high in triumph. At 5'7", Ciri was barely an inch taller than the blonde teen at this point. Well, I best be going. The resistance still needs some help, he stated as Ciri stopped him by grabbing his shoulder. Oh no, you staying with me. Wouldn't want you to get any ideas about a certain young handmaiden. A grin spread across her face as her voice turned sultry. I'm just an old lady to you now, Naru. She teased him with the nickname given to him by a certain Tagrita youngling. Naruto, as he did every time she played this card, cringed at the thought of being with Ciri in that way. She wasn't old or ugly by any measure. In fact, she was downright gorgeous. A blonde bombshell barely turned 23 to anyone else, but to him she was family. Despite what he had read in the strange books he got his hands on as a kid, family just doesn't do that kind of stuff. Why don't you go with him, Ciri? The resistance could use another Jedi, Plo Koon spoke up as he walked up the two. Naruto silently thanked his master for bringing his mind out of the gutter. Ah, Master Plo Koon. I hope your journey went well, Naruto said warmly as Plo Koon nodded. Other than a small pit stop on a desert and another member to our party, everything went well. At least, as well as it could have gone, Plo Koon answered as questioned him who the new member was. Plo Koon explained that it was a slave boy, Anakin Skywalker, who was picked up by Qui-Gon after finding out that the boy had a rather strong connection with the Force. I see, well then. If Ciri wants, she can come with me. We'll gather the rest of our forces, and when you have the Gungan army ready we will meet again, Naruto stated as Plo Koon nodded and watched as the two went on their way with the resistance fighters. He sighed as his thoughts drifted to Naruto. The boy had become quite powerful on his own. He was sure that there was nothing else he needed to teach Naruto. He had proven himself, and Plo Koon was sure that, given a few years, Naruto would complete the trials, become a knight, and would one day make a fine Jedi Master. A few days later. As it turns out, the Queen turned out to be the handmaiden Padme, and with humility, she had convinced the Gungan to help her people and drive the droid armies off Naboo. In the next coming days, the Gungans had assembled a large army, readying themselves for the coming battle. The plan is simple. The Gungan army will draw the droid army out here to fight away from the capital, while we sneak into Theed and capture the leaders of the Federation, and force them to end the invasion. With their capture and the droid control ship in orbit destroyed, the droids all over Naboo will shut down. Qui-Gon explained as everyone nodded. I'll be leading the fighter squadron to assault the Federation control ship. Master Qui-Gon and his apprentice will lead the Queen's group to Theed. Naruto, and by extension Siri, along with what resistance soldiers we can spare, will aid the Gungan army to make it appear that our full force is there. I'm sure you two can handle it. Plo Koon stated as Naruto and Siri nodded. You can count on us. Naruto pointed at himself with a grin as Siri smacked the back of his head. Don't worry, I'll keep him out of trouble, she said as Naruto grumbled with Plo Koon chuckling at the two. Once Naruto heard that Qui-Gon had encountered a Sith Lord, he was eager to head to Theed, but Plo Koon's orders were absolute, and Naruto was simply not ready to battle a Sith Lord, or even a fallen Jedi. So him heading to Theed was out of the question. Despite his capability with machines and a lightsaber, Naruto wasn't the best of pilots. Certainly not near the level of his master. The only real option was to have him lead the Gungan army, as their only other general was Jar Jar. With the plan in place, the Gungan army began to move out with Naruto and Siri. As they formed their battle lines, the shields activated. Many droid transports and battle tanks emerged from the hilltop before came to a halt on high ground. The Otts began to open fire on the Gungan army. Thankfully, the shields held as the Gungans braced themselves. The droid carriers moved into position to deploy. However, some of them didn't as their programming had been sabotaged by Naruto during his time in Theed. Naruto grinned at the revelation. That should actually lower their numbers a good bit. Naruto laughed at his handiwork, watching the droids malfunction before one of the carriers suddenly exploded. Siri simply shook her head, but was also thankful that they wouldn't have to fight as many droids as they would have had to otherwise. Get ready. She steadied herself. The sound of their march was terrifying for some of the Gungans, as the droids marched in perfect sync. Naruto could see the nervousness written all over the faces of the Gungan army, and realized that they would panic and flee the moment things got too ugly. He wasn't needed as a soldier right now. He was needed as a leader in general. He quickly sat down and began to concentrate. Naruto quickly felt a wave of exhaustion fall over him, as he purged his body of most of his chakra. The force began to flow through him fully, allowing him to sense the surrounding battle with extreme clarity. All the life forms around him, and even the trace amounts of it found in the metal of the battle droids. As he tapped deeper and deeper into this infinite well of power, the force around him swelled as well, allowing him to amplify it in all the life forms around him. What the? Siri questioned as she felt a sudden uplifting sensation, her connection to the force growing by the minute. She felt as if she could take on the whole galaxy and come out on top. The Gungans as well felt their resolve strengthen, their will to fight overshadowing their desire to flee. It was then that Naruto stood up, maintaining his connection with the force. Naruto, is this your doing? Siri questioned as Naruto nodded, a serious look on his face. She raised an eyebrow in response to his silence, wondering what was going on before her eyes widened. Is this? Naruto again remained silent as the droids passed through the shields and began to fire upon the army of Gungans. As they did, the normally bumbling Gungan army stood firm and fought back, throwing their weapons at the droid fight with such ferocity and resistance that the first droid line began to falter. Captain Tarpals had ordered the shield beasts to retreat, moving their shield into a more defensible position and away from the droid carriers. In response, the Otts and droid transports moved forward with their advancing army to stay in range, further drawing them away from Theed and off the high ground. Naruto let out a deep breath as he lifted his legs up into the air, crossing them as a faint distortion of the force was visible around him. The levitating Naruto had submerged himself fully into the force, completing his battle meditation. In orbit. While the ground forces carried out their part of the plan, the starfighter pilots had reached the hangar and had took off, with Plo Koon taking the lead. Follow my lead. Plo Koon ordered as the pilots fell in line, returning fire as vulture droid starfighters fired at them. Plo Koon returned fire as well, and soon ordered the formation to break, thus scattering the vulture droids. This allowed Plo Koon to pull some maneuvers, and down quite a lot of the droid fighters, saving many of the pilots' lives. Hey, who's piloting that one? One of the pilots questioned, pointing at a straighter that was going in a straight line, like it was on autopilot. Plo Koon flew closer to the cockpit, narrowed his eyes, and sighed. It was that boy, Anakin Skywalker. I'll take care of him, destroy that ship. Plo Koon ordered as his fighter did a corkscrew to get behind Anakin's own, destroying several of the vulture droid that were behind the boy's craft. However, he found defending the boy to be a pain, as the autopilot kept him flying straight. Anakin suddenly seemed to gain control of his craft, and suddenly moved his fighter into a spinning motion. Just as Plo Koon was ready to back off, Anakin's fighter was suddenly hit, and he was sent spinning into the main hangar. It wasn't long before the vulture droids had turned their attention and were swarming Plo Koon's fighter. This doesn't look he didn't get to finish as his fighter shook, with the right engine exploding, causing his fighter to fly into a tailspin, careening straight towards the planet's surface. Naboo plains. Siri quickly reignited her saber, destroying the battle droids aiming at Naruto, sending attacks back at the droids in force-based attacks. As she defended Naruto, the droids could destroy the shield generators, causing the shields to fall. However, it didn't matter as Naruto's battle mediation was still going strong, and the shield-bearing Gungan warriors formed makeshift barriers for the rest of their army. Cover him. Siri yelled as a few Gungans ran up and formed a shield to defend Naruto while he was in his meditative stance. Siri quickly ran towards one of the Otts that had been forced out of position by the Gungan army's constant retreat. Leaping aboard the tank, she crawled atop tank's turret as the droid looked at her. "Hey, you're not authorized to be here," the droid stated as Siri smirked before he cut down the droid. "I think I am," she said, entering and cutting down the crew and taking control of the tank. With the tank under her control, she began to fire upon the other tanks. It wasn't long before a resistance fighter jumped in as well, taking control of the turret and began to fire at the droid tanks. However, as the Gungan army stood firm, the droid army suddenly ceased all operations and shut down. Naruto opened his eyes as he blinked, looking at the fallen droids before it dawned on him. They destroyed the command ship, he said to himself as he stood up and witnessed the Gungans cheer over the victory. Naruto started to grin in victory, but suddenly he had a bad feeling about all this. Something was wrong. "You okay, Naruto?" Siri questioned as she stepped next to him, seeing him stop for a second. Naruto shook his head as he frowned. "No, something doesn't feel right," he wondered as she raised an eyebrow. Whatever it was, they would deal with it later. They had to meet up with Qui-Gon and the Queen in Theed as soon as possible. The Viceroy and that Sith Lord were still a threat. Near Theed. "This does not look good," Naruto stated as he and Siri observed, as the Naboo security team started to pull 2 and 1 starfighters that had crashed into a nearby swamp. As of yet, no one knew who the pilots were, as they had lost so many pilots, but as the fighter was pulled out of the swamp and the cockpit came into view, the pilot inside was dead, having either died in the crash or drowned in the swamp. "We can't do anything, let them handle it," she spoke as Naruto closed his eyes and looked back at the other starfighter. "By the force," Naruto muttered as they pulled the half-buried fighter from one of the swamps nearby the city. It was badly damaged, with the cockpit compromised, one of its engine completely missing, and its exterior completely singed from rough the re-entry. The starfighter had been hit hard, but the life support systems were still intact. "Damn it, can't believe that he almost died saving that kid." A pilot that had survived the space battle spoke as he helped with the recovery. Naruto overheard the conversation and growled. A Naboo security guard shouted out as he and his fellow comrade pulled out the pilot out. Naruto moved forward to see none other than his master, Plo Koon, pull from the cockpit. He jumped down. Siri wouldn't be stopping him this time. Looking back, she shook her head. Naruto gasped as he witnessed the injury his master had sustained. His right side was completely burned. His breathing mask was greatly damaged, and it was clearly that he was not conscious. Naruto looked away, not wanting to see as his master was taken away by the medics to be treated, if he was even still alive. "He's going to be okay," Siri reassured him as he nodded, although with little enthusiasm. He could only hope that his master would come out alive from this. However, he threw a light glare towards the boy, Anakin. It was because of that foolish boy that his master was in such a state. His master was forced to defend the child who had somehow ended up in a starfighter and had almost gotten himself killed. Shaking his head, he began to follow the medics. Now was not the time for this. The palace courtyard, Naboo. The celebrations were in full swing with the droid armies now destroyed, and the Trade Federation being driven off of Naboo, forced to pay extensive reparations and meet the Senate's demands. However, not everyone was happy. Obi-Wan had lost his master to the Sith he had later sliced clean in half, while Naruto's master, Plo Koon, was greatly injured during the space battle above. With his master out of commission, another master would be needed to take over Naruto's training and supervise him on missions for quite a while. "Master Shakti will train you. As has she before." Yoda spoke as Naruto smiled a bit. He had trained under Shakti before, and he was glad that it was her would be training him again. With a bow, Naruto stood back, allowing Yoda to turn his attention to Obi-Wan. "Confer on you the level of Jedi Knight, the council does. But, agree with you taking this boy as your Padawan learner, I do not." Yoda firmly stated his opposition to Skywalker becoming a Jedi. Qui-Gon believed in him. Obi-Wan retorted. "The chosen one, the boy may be. Nevertheless, grave danger I fear in his training." Yoda expressed the same concerns he had a few days before with Obi-Wan's recently deceased master. "Master Yoda, I gave Qui-Gon my word. I will train Anakin." Obi-Wan remained stalwart in his oath to Qui-Gon. "Without the approval of the council if I must," he added. "Qui-Gon's defiance I sense within you. Need that you do not." Yoda huffed. "Agree with you the council does." Your apprentice, young Skywalker will be. Yoda confirmed. Thank you, Master Yoda. Obi-Wan said with a bow as he stepped back. The last in line was Siri. Yoda walked up to her as she looked anywhere but at Yoda. Came to Naboo, you did, but Askar informed the council you did not. Yoda started as Siri sighed. If I had asked, you would never had allowed me to go. You would have tried to stop me. Siri stated as Yoda nodded. True this is, but so is it true that you left without permission. Later will the council decide your punishment. But fear expulsion, you should not. Yoda said, relaxing her a great deal, but she knew that the council wouldn't be so forgiving the next time she pulled a stunt like this. With this business dealt with, the three were dismissed, with Obi-Wan leaving to talk to Anakin, and Naruto and Siri leaving to observe the parade. You gonna be okay? Siri questioned as Naruto sighed as he overlooked the celebration from a balcony. I don't know, he answered as she laid a hand on his shoulders. Don't worry, Master Plo Koon will be fine. He'll wake up soon enough, she stated as Naruto nodded, turning to face the fireworks as stunt craft flew overhead. The night was young and the people would celebrate till sunrise, ushering in a new age of peace and cooperation for the inhabitants of Naboo. But at what cost? Naruto pondered. 5 years later. Naruto sighed as he stood silent in the medical wing of the Jedi Temple. How long had it been since the invasion of Naboo? Ever since then, Naruto had been slightly depressed. His master had miraculously survived a crash landing from orbit above Naboo, but he had been in a coma ever since. Meanwhile, he was training with Master Shakti. It was quite a new experience, given that he had only trained with her briefly in the past. Of all these differences, one stood out above the rest. Namely that Shakti was a devoted practitioner of a tarot unlike his former master. His many lessons over the years in the form had given him a solid foundation that Shakti was able to finally perfect. Naruto was considered a master of Form I via tarot, possibly second only to Master Yoda himself. Combined with his skills in Form V and Form 2, he was now considered one of the better duelists in the order among both Padawans and Knights. His style relied on a series of relentless acrobatic attacks that gradually whittled his opponent down. These attacks combined the finesse of Form 2 and the counter-attacking nature of Form V into his acrobatic leaps over and around his foe. When it came to a lightsaber, Naruto was second to no other Padawan. The blonde, nearing the end of his teenage years, had cut most of his hair short, apart from the thin Padawan braid that hung down from the right side of his head. He had forgotten his standard Jedi clothes for a rather simple white shirt and pants he wore under his coat. He kept the brown boots and belt, however. He also wore a pocket bandolier over his right shoulder. On his belt, he had also bore a shiny new blaster pistol. Obi-Wan had lost his lightsaber in the battle with Darth Maul, and so Naruto decided long ago to add another weapon to his arsenal, so the same thing never happened to him. His first instinct was to build another lightsaber, and he had learned the dual-wielding form of a terror, but something just felt wrong, and so he returned to practice saber, and bought a DT-93 heavy pistol. He hadn't necessarily needed it yet, but it still proved useful sometimes. On top of that, he was pretty handy with the thing. Naruto overlooked his comatose master in a special pot that simulated the atmosphere of his homeworld, so he did not require a breath mask. The hiss of the automated door opening interrupted Naruto's somber mood. Naruto, we're late. Master Shakti spoke sternly as she entered the room. He chuckled nervously as he approached her. Sorry, Master. I was, well, you know. Naruto answered as she nodded in understanding before making him take a seat. I understand how you feel, but Master Plo Koon will awaken soon. You must have faith in him, and the Force. She reassured him as Naruto nodded. He knew that his master would pull through. He had endured worse, but what irritated him most was that he was still so helpless to aid him. Seeing that his concerns were put to rest, she closed her eyes. How has your training been going? Shakti questioned. Usually, she would train him in his blade work, or find him his much-loved books on battle tactics and strategies. However, Naruto had begun to develop skills regarding the Force on his own. Well, I have been able to move while performing battle meditation, he began. I'm sensing a but here. She sensed he was hiding something, and Naruto relented. But I'm completely cut off from my chakra while using it. It requires too much focus for me to channel chakra and the technique at the same time. So, I can't move nearly as fast. And using the Force for anything else but the technique is impossible. Naruto replied with a frown as Shakti raised an eyebrow. And how is this bad? She asked. She knew why, but everything you did or said was a learning experience when you were training under Master Shakti. While everyone else around me is able to fight the good fight, I can only use my strength and skills as a human being. Not as a Jedi, not even as a former ninja in training. I can still use my lightsaber of course, but I can barely deflect blaster fire. I have to rely entirely on my eyes. I don't think I'll ever get to a point where I can use my other Force abilities, or even my chakra while using it. Naruto tried to explain as best as he could. Shakti smiled at his determination. Is that why you've taken to carrying a blaster? I am sure that, in time, you will find the inner peace that allows the force to flow through you freely, even when you're using everything you have on your battle meditation. But for now, let us focus on regular meditation. You should hopefully never need to use that ability ever again. The days of galactic war have been over for a millennium. She replied as Naruto took in a deep breath as he began to meditate. Meditation had been another key aspect of his training under Shakti. It allowed him to be calm, to see possible visions of the future, and to further deepen his connection to the Force. As such, the chaotic days of the Padawans pranking were over. A couple weeks later. Council this, council that, Naruto mumbled as Shakti slightly chuckled at Naruto's behavior. The council had called specifically for Naruto for a meeting. It seemed like Naruto was quite the talk amongst the council these days, given his recent and past achievements. Shakti even believed him to be almost ready for the trials. The two quickly made their way to the council chambers as the doors opened, allowing them to walk in. Thank you for coming on such a short notice, Padawan Uzumaki. Mace Windu started as Shakti moved to sit in her chair, leaving Naruto at the center. Well, when the council calls, the council calls. Naruto replied as Shakti chuckled at the blonde's attitude towards the meetings. After 11 years of him being in the order, most of the masters had simply grown to ignore the boy's casual disregard to council meetings. They somehow managed to shake their heads using only their eyes. Moving on, one of the senators has approached the Jedi Order for help. Kid Fisto started, breaking the stare tension in the room. Our help? Who is this senator? Shakti questioned, wondering what was it this time that the Jedi had to be involved in. The senator is Ohiru from the Pantor system. He claims that his life is under threat from a rivaling faction within Pantor. Mace Windu stated as Naruto blinked at that. Why does this remind me of the Mandalorian Civil War? Naruto muttered out as Yoda shook his head. A civil war, this is not. These groups, working in the shadows they are. Yoda stated as many of the masters nodded. The Jedis were no strangers to underground elements, as the Sith had apparently been working in the shadows themselves for over a millennium. Even now, one of the Dark Lords worked in the shadows to orchestrate the events on Naboo. The death of Darth Maul had confirmed that the Sith were in fact not as dead as the Jedis had assumed. Your mission is to protect the senator and his understudy. Mace assigned them the mission as Naruto raised an eyebrow. So, it's a protection detail mission. Naruto questioned as Mace Windu nodded. Yes, but this is also an investigation. Master Shakti and yourself will be assigned as official Republic investigators to protect and serve under the senator and his intern. Oppo Sisis stated as both Master and Padawan looked at him with a mix of confusion and surprise. Oppo Sisis might have been a stingy old bastard, but he knew talent when he saw it. Whatever Naruto Uzumaki's shortcomings were regarding the Jedi Code, he made up for it by being a damned good Jedi nonetheless. 2 questions, why me? Surely there are others that are more qualified for this mission. And second, I already have an active assignment, protecting the Queen of Naboo. Naruto questioned. Over the last 4 years, Naruto had been assigned to protect the Queen of Naboo here and there from other threats that might befall on her, including retaliation from the Trade Federation, who had somehow managed to vindicate Newt Gunray. The Jedi Council thought that it would be best that Naruto be given such a task, given that he was already accustomed to protection detail. Not everyone has fought in 2 conflicts of such scale and length in as short amount of time as you have. Although still young, your experience is invaluable regarding this mission. Master Kenobi is the only other Jedi with similar experience, but he is busy teaching his Padawan, Skywalker. I'm sure you will do just fine, if not better. Kid Fisto answered. Naruto slowly nodded. As for your other assignment, we have deemed that the active danger to the Queen has passed, and that assignment will be put on temporary hold. We have other Jedi that can take over should the need arise. Mace Windu stated as Naruto silently crushed, and just when he was getting to know Padme a bit more intimately as well. Gather all the things you deem necessary and meet me in the hangar. We leave today. Shakti instructed Naruto, who nodded and ran off to gather his belongings. Jedi Temple dormitories. As he approached his room, he spotted a familiar figure standing outside his room. Siri. He spoke as she turned to look at him with a smile. Naruto, I was wondering where you've been. She spoke as Naruto stopped in front of her with a raised eyebrow. Now in her mid-20s, Siri's hair was no longer tied back into a ponytail, but was free-flowing and shoulder length. The change in hairstyle came with the removal of her Padawan braid a year ago. She was a Jedi Knight now. Did you need something? He questioned her as he opened the door of his room, allowing for him to enter with Siri following. Nah, I was just seeing if you wanted to hang out, practice your saber work or something. Siri answered as Naruto shook his head as he began to gather whatever he needed. Sorry, but that's gonna have to wait. He said as she raised an eyebrow. What was that supposed to mean? Naruto sighed and decided to elaborate her. The council have assigned me and Master Shakti a mission that could last a whole year. Naruto said as Siri's eyebrow twitched. Why did they choose Naruto again, after everything he had been though? The council should have chosen someone else. She spoke as she pouted. Naruto nervously chuckled at her attitude as he stood up. Well, no fighting it now. Master Shakti is waiting for me at the hangar. Want to see us off? Naruto questioned as she grinned at him. You bet, she said as she began to follow the blonde to the hangar. I just can't believe that the council is sending you into another dangerous mission right after the last one. Siri voiced her concerns as Naruto sighed, remembering the whole debacle on Narshada. They picked me specifically for my skills and experience. I'll be fine, Naruto stated as Siri frowned. The last time you told me that, you ended stranded on a hostile planet filled with battle droids. She countered as Naruto blushed in embracement. Yeah, but I was fine, he replied as Siri ruffled his hair. But you were in trouble, she fired back as Naruto pouted, sweating her hand away. Not my fault if trouble finds me, he said with a sigh as the two finally reached the hangar where Master Shakti was waiting. Shakti noticed the two walking in and gave them a smile. I see that you're here to see him off, Shakti questioned as Siri nodded. What kind of sister would I be if I didn't see my brother off? She gave Naruto a quick goodbye kiss on the cheek. Naruto simply grumbled and boarded the ship, leaving the two amused female Jedi with one another. Siri's expression then turned serious as she faced Shakti. Master Shakti, I only ask of you that you keep Naruto safe, Siri requested with a bow as Shakti looked at the Padawan with a small smile. Of course, I will. You still have quite the attachment with him, no? She questioned as Siri nodded with determination. Yes, and I would never break the bond we have, even if the order demanded me to, Siri responded, already stating her answer. Shakti shook her head. You are mistaken. I would not want you to break your bond with young Naruto. He is a special boy. His emotions make him strong, yet he is never tempted by the whispers of the dark side. That and he changes the people he has met, for example, you, Master Plo Koon, Master Kid Fisto, and to an extent, me, Shakti stated, much to Siri's surprise. Shakti had trained Naruto for a few months in the past, and unknowingly had also created a bond with the blonde boy. In fact, I'm more worried that he's a danger to himself. His strong emotions have turned into a quiet strength, but I fear if he's ever angered enough, Shakti added solemnly. I see, Siri responded as Shakti laid a hand on her shoulder, causing Siri to look up at her. Rest assured, Naruto will be safe. I'll keep him out of trouble, Shakti assured as she turned around and boarded the ship. It wasn't long before the vessel started to float up and shot out of the hangar, heading to the Pantora system. Siri could only hope that Shakti could keep her word, but then she began to giggle. Was she kidding? He always gets in trouble. I wouldn't be surprised if bounty hunters blasted their way into the senator's office as soon as he entered, she said to herself as she turned on her heel and left the hangar. Maybe she would work on her form IV, so that the next time she dueled with Naruto, she could surprise him with some of his own tricks. A few hours later, the journey to the Pantora system was a long one, given the location of the system. As the ship landed on the moon of Pantora, the chilling winds of the planet greeted Naruto. He shivered a bit as he followed Shakti off the ramp of the ship, as they were greeted by a few Pantoran guardsmen. Ah, Master Jedi, my name is Ohiruru, the current senator of Pantora. A tall blue-skinned man with golden markings introduced himself as Shakti bowed. Greetings. I am Master Shakti of the Jedi Order, and this is Naruto Uzumaki, my Padawan learner. She introduced herself and Naruto, who bowed slightly as well. As Naruto bowed, he noticed a young girl, still in her mid-teens, a few steps behind the senator. The senator seemed to have taken notice of his gaze as he turned to the female Pantoran. Ah. Forgive me, but this is Ryuchuchi, my understudy, intern, and hopefully one day, an accomplished politician. The Pantoran senator introduced her with a chuckle as the now-named Ryuchuchi was gently pushed in front of Ruru and bowed before the two Jedi. The group began to head into a building, away from the chilling winds of the outside. I thank you, Master Jedi, for coming on such short notice, but the situation isn't good. There have already been a few assassination attempts on my life, and sadly on Chuchi's as well. She was rather lucky to survive the last one, the senator stated as they entered his office. Once they did, the senator took a seat behind his desk as the guardsmen stood at attention, flanking him. As you are aware, Master Jedi, my life, as well as the lives of those who have worked with me in the past, is in grave danger. The Ohi started as Shakti nodded. She was debriefed on the little details on her way here by the council. Yes, however, the problem is that we don't know who it is that wants you dead, Shakti stated as she sat down, Naruto doing the same next to her. Indeed. There are many factions here on Pantora, many who think it's best that Pantora leave the Republic altogether, others want to return the government into the monarchy it once was. There are simply too many political entities within Pantora to even start calling out names. We are a world divided, to say the least. Oh, he said with a sigh as Naruto rolled his eyes. Politics, he hated politics. Mostly because he didn't understand a word of it. Perhaps we should begin by interrogating the ones that have actively opposed you in the past, Shakti questioned as though he nodded. I would have done so myself, but I am a senator. I have no real power within the parliament. Only the Chief Justice can subpoena any of them for questioning your testimony. Oh, he responded, explained just what kind of situation he was in. That's why you requested Jedi aid. Naruto blurted out as the senator nodded. There is nothing that says I cannot ask the Jedi to intervene. It is my hopes that the Jedis will be able to uncover who it is that is after my life and those that associate with me. Oh, he revealed the truth as Shakti frowned. If we are to protect you while also hunting those that are trying to kill you, then more Jedi Knights will be required. Shakti stated, this was a mission that required more than just 2 Jedi. Some would have to protect those in danger at all time, while others would need to find the killers. With all due respect, Master Jedi, having too many of you around might cause those after the Senator's life to be on guard. They will restrict their movements until such time has passed when the Jedi are gone. It was Shuchi who spoke up, speaking softly and timidly as though he smiled as bit. She was such a shy girl with big dreams. Shakti hummed, understanding the logic of the girl. Whoever it was that was trying to kill the Senator, they wouldn't be stupid. Very well, if that is the case, then I shall guard you, Senator, and my Padawan will guard your understudy. We'll do our best to find out who it is exactly that is trying to kill you and for what reason. Rest assured, Senator, you and your friends are safe under the protection of the Jedi. Shakti said with a smile as the Senator stood up and bowed. I thank you, Master Jedi. To be honest, it isn't my life I am concerned about, but of those who have known me. It is their lives that are on the line here. Oh, he responded, well grateful. The old politician cared more those who had worked for him. Rest assured, Senator, you're in safe hands. Shakti said as the Senator once again bowed and began to leave, with Shakti following close behind as the guardsman followed the Senator. Naruto meanwhile was walking beside the understudy, Chuchi. So, what's it like being a political understudy? Naruto questioned, his curiosity getting the better of him. What? Chuchi blushed slightly as she glanced up at him. If this were the Naruto from a few years ago, they would have been the same height. But Naruto was a full-grown man now, standing a little over 5'11", and Chuchi noted that he was quite handsome up close. Well, I'm a Jedi Padawan. So, I guess you could say I'm Master Shakti's Jedi understudy. He rationalized. Well, it can get hectic at times, but it is also fun. She answered as Naruto raised an eyebrow. You call paperwork fun? Naruto questioned with a grunt as Chuchi giggled at his reaction. I get to learn about politics. Chuchi stated as Naruto blinked before he remembered something. Oh yeah. I remember the Senator said you wanted to become a politician. Naruto said as Chuchi nodded, but her mood had changed a bit. She seemed a bit depressed. Yes, she answered as Naruto raised an eyebrow. Is it something I said? He questioned as Chuchi shook her head. No, it's just that my parents used to be politicians. She answered, looking down at the floor as the two walked on. What happened to them? Naruto questioned, though his gut already knew the answer. They were killed by a faction that they angered too much, Chuchi answered as Naruto fell silent. She was an orphan, like him. However, what confused him was that she wanted to become the very thing that had caused her parents' death. I know what you think, that I am foolish for trying to become one after what happened to my parents. Chuchi spoke, tears gathering at the edges of her eyes. Naruto shook his head and gave her his famous fox-like grin. I think you're pretty brave for following your dreams, even knowing the dangers. Naruto stated as Chuchi blushed heavily this time, not used to getting compliments from someone as handsome as Naruto. Handsome and kind, he'd make a great husband someday. She thought as she stared at the blonde. She blushed as she shook her head. He was a Jedi. They weren't allowed to form attachments or have romantic relationships. Besides, she was too old for him, at least for the time being. Maybe when she was older. No. Stupid. Stupid. She berated herself. This was just one of those fleeting crushes, right? Looks like we're there. Naruto's voice broke her out of her daydreaming as they stood in front of Chuchi's quarters. Chuchi nodded, quickly opening the door and inviting Naruto in. Chuchi quickly headed to her desk and started to do some paperwork and some investigation, mostly to distract her mind from the blonde. Wow, you're really smart, you know. Naruto praised her as he observed some of the work she was doing. This was some high-level political paperwork she was dealing with. Some of the things he was seeing escaped his own mind as he tried to comprehend it. Thank you. Chuchi responded with a blush as she tried to focus on her work, but Naruto was making it extremely difficult for that to happen. However, it seemed like Naruto had found something to occupy himself with. She glanced at him as he shifted through some data pads, a thoughtful look on his face. Hey, Chuchi, you got any ideas on who this faction targeting the Senator might be? Naruto questioned as Chuchi raised an eyebrow. Like? She questioned as Naruto shrugged, pointing at one of the data pads. Like the Royalist faction. Naruto suggested as Chuchi hummed. The Royalist faction have a clear majority in the parliament and have quite the influence. I don't think they need to remove the Senator, since they can do that with an easy vote of no confidence. She stated as Naruto went through another data pad. What about the isolationists? He questioned as Chuchi grabbed the data pad and went over the information. That is likely since they are quite unpopular. Not many want Pantora to end all trade with the Republic. But then again, they haven't used violence like some other factions. Chuchi stated as Naruto groaned in frustration. He sat down on one of the chairs inside. This is going to be harder than I thought. Naruto grunted as Shuchi giggled at his antics. We have plenty of time to figure who it is. Besides, there are many political factions on Pantor, Shuchi stated. Naruto nodded at that. There were indeed many factions, some violent, others not so much. He yawned as he started to close his eyes. I'll be right here if you need anything. Naruto mumbled as he drifted off to sleep. Shuchi nodded as she returned to her work, knowing that her bodyguard would be here to defend her the minute there was trouble. That made her blush a bit. Here she was, in her quarters, with a handsome blonde Jedi who acted nothing like a Jedi. Perhaps everything would turn out alright. 4 months later. A few months had gone by, and the Jedi were still no closer to finding the faction that wanted Ohiru dead than before. It seemed that just the mere presence of the Jedi was enough to scare the unknown faction into halting all hostility. This was good for the senator, whose life was no longer in danger with the assassination attempts halting, but for the two Jedi it was all the worse. Finding the would-be assassins had become utterly impossible. We have conducted background checks on all the factions, their members, their ties, contacts and so on. Yet we have been unable to find anything. Shakti spoke to Naruto as the two observed the skyline of Pantora's capital outside of the senator's office. We are running out of time. If we can't find anything soon, the council will eventually call us back to leave your protection to local security. And then they can once again target the senator and Shuchi. Naruto responded as Shakti nodded. The two had done everything possible within their authority and mission parameters. They tailed key members of each faction, spied on countless meetings, and even at one point compelled some by the force to answer their questions, yet nothing ever came of it. Naruto even tried to lure them out by having a low-security celebration for Shuchi, whose birthday he found was only a few galactic days before his. The blonde sighed in defeat for the 10th time today. Shooting at a womp rat was an easier assignment than this. By the force, why can't it be just simple? Naruto groaned in frustration as Shakti frowned at his behavior before something struck her. Simple, she whispered as she pulled out a datapad and began to go through the information she had gathered on the factions on Pantor. Just then, Shuchi walked out of her office, a hopeful look on her face. Master Jedi, I believe I have something that you might find interesting. Shuchi said as Naruto raised an eyebrow with Shakti nodding, following the understudy into her officer. Once inside, Shuchi dimmed the lights a bit as a hologram appeared in the center of the room, showing some charts and such. I was going through some information and I found something that doesn't make any sense. She started as she pressed a few buttons, causing the charts to shift. This is the city's budget, no? Shakti questioned as Shuchi nodded. Yes. The city's budget is planned and approved by the parliament every year. However, as you can see, the city budget is missing some funds. Shuchi responded, pressing another set of buttons, revealing some numbers and so on. That many accounts? Naruto questioned, watching the list go on. Under normal circumstances, taking out funds from the annual budget is common to ensure that the government keeps operation normally. However, the number of accounts withdrawing money is unusually high. They each aren't taking out an amount that would be noticeable, but as a collective they are talking out a big chunk of change. Shuchi explained as Naruto nodded in understanding. Someone was taking money out of the budget. Then it must be more than one faction that is after the senator's life if there are so many accounts are embezzling the money. Shakti concluded, it wouldn't make sense for some faction to use public funds to assassinate a politician. It makes sense. Some of the bounty hunters that had tried to assassinate the senator are quite expensive to hire. If any one faction were to use their own resources to hire them, then the drastic change of their wealth would become noticeable. By using the budget, they keep that wealth and remain undetected. Shuchi explained as Naruto blinked at that. Wow, you're really smart, you know that. Naruto complimented her as she blushed and thanked him. Anyways, the problem lies within the account holders. They are unknown, or rather fake. Shuchi stated as Shakti raised an eyebrow. Fake? Shakti asked as she observed the charts. Yes, fake. The names are sometimes comical. Someone behind this must have significant influence over the banks, in order to allow people like Left Hand to create government accounts. Then, a few hours later, the accounts are closed. Shuchi surmised. Then by freezing these accounts and by monitoring the budget of the city and other public funds, we can force them to use their own funds, and force them out of hiding. Shakti stated as Shuchi nodded. Naruto grinned at that. Then what are we waiting for? Naruto questioned, eager for a fight. Shakti shook her head, he enjoyed fighting far too much. I have informed the senator of this, and he has already begun the process. Shuchi responded as Naruto became even more eager. Good, however, there is something I have just discovered. Shakti stated as she held up the datapad, allowing Shuchi to grab it and read what Shakti had found. I was looking at the usual behavior of each factions prior to our arrival. Things like their rivals, friends, influence and so on. I must have missed this, but one faction has unusually changed their behavior over the last few months. Just Naruto and I landed. Shakti started as Shuchi blinked. The neutralist faction? Shuchi questioned. The hardline faction that sought to leave the Republic was formed 3 years ago in response to the Republic's increasingly stricter policies regarding trade, taxes, weapons, borders, and so on. While it was somewhat popular on Pantor, particularly among the elders, it still wasn't all that influential. I have noticed that the neutralists have quite close ties with the Techno Union on Skako Minor. Shakti stated as Naruto's side, all this political talk was really getting annoying for him. Oh great, what does the Techno Union have to do with this? He questioned as Shakti giggled at his annoyance. The Techno Union is a commerce guild, a big one at that too, but like Naruto questioned, what do they have to do with it? Chuchi questioned, she knew somewhat of the Techno Union, but not enough. The Techno Union is made up of technology firms, they are the premier supplier of various droids across the galaxy, and you Naruto are quite familiar with one of their flagship droids. Shakti stated, causing Naruto to blink and point to himself. I am? He questioned as she nodded, pressing a few buttons, and bringing up the hologram of a B1 battle droid. Wait, they made the B1? Naruto questioned as Shakti nodded. Only designed it, really. It's manufactured by the Bactoid company on Geonosis. Shakti answered, but Chuchi still didn't understand what this all meant. Shakti pulled up other holograms, bringing out the galactic map. The Techno Union has close relations with the Trade Federation, and like the Trade Federation, they have been hit hard with the Republic's new laws and taxes. The Republic's laws take less of an effect on the two corporations if they operate in space that is friendly towards them. Shakti stated as Chuchi now understood where Shakti was going with this. And the Techno Union, along with the Trade Federation, have a lot to gain if Pantora becomes more favorable towards them. Chuchi stated, realizing what Shakti was trying to get to. Indeed, it also helps then considering that Pantora lies as the outer rim. Shakti stated as Chuchi sighed and sat down in her chair. This was bigger than she had assumed. So, the neutralists are paying the Techno Union, who in turn are sending bounty hunters, mercenaries, and all kinds of pirate scum to try and kill the senator. Naruto questioned as Shakti nodded. It seems like Naruto did pay attention to some of her lessons. Slamming his hand on the desk, Naruto looked up with determination. Then we need to arrest the neutralists, he proclaimed as Chuchi shook her head. All of this is speculative right now, we can't arrest them without evidence. We don't even know their motive. Chuchi stated as Naruto sighed, politics was too much of a hassle for him sometimes. The senator isn't a neutralist. They probably want him dead, so they can put one of their own in charge. Naruto said. It's simple politics that even I understand. That still doesn't make sense. The neutralists are a minority, his only real political allies are the ISO. Chuchi stopped mid-sentence, her mouth agape. The isolationists Shakti finished. They're a bit more extreme, but it stands to reason that they'd be willing to compromise with the neutralists. But they're both minorities in the parliament, aren't they? Even if they're growing, at most they'd get 10% of the vote. The royalists and the liberals are the two major parties. They'd need the backing of one of them to come close to a majority. Naruto had unwittingly just solved the entire mystery. That's it. That's everything. Amantor of the royalist faction is the CEO of the Pantaran Royal Bank. Chuchi exclaimed. It'd be a cakewalk for him to create fake accounts hidden from their servers, transfer money to them, pay the bounty hunters, and then delete the account all on the same day. Then the royalists must have cut a deal with the neutralists as well. Probably to restore the monarchy. Shakti presumed. But even so, that only gives them a slight majority. The rest of the parliament would surely veto any measure to install a senator with separation from the republic as a key platform. Well, there were about a dozen accounts opened each day, right? But the money doesn't add up. They could have hired so many assassins than what you've had to deal with. Maybe some of the other members of parliament are being paid off. Naruto postulated. Naruto, you're a genius. Chuchi was suddenly ecstatic. I am? Naruto blinked. I mean, of course I am. He said proudly, having no idea what Chuchi meant. I thought it was suspicious that Congressman Poten's wife had such a nice new collection of jewelry. Chuchi continued. We can ask the senator to subpoena the banks in order to track the accounts in reverse. As she went to work on her datapad, a few guardsmen rushed through the door. Come quick. I think the senator has been poisoned. One of the guardsmen proclaimed as Naruto and Chuchi looked at the guardsman with white eyes, while Shakti frowned. It seemed like their target was changing tactics. In the hospital. The good news is the senator is alive, but we don't know when he will wake up. If he ever does, the head doctor at the hospital stated. After the senator was poisoned, he was hurried to the hospital and had fallen into a coma. With his entire staff of guardsmen locking down the area around the hospital, no one who wasn't authorized would be able to get in. I suppose that is quite good news. Shakti commented as the doctor nodded before he headed back in to monitor the senator. Shakti then turned to Chuchi. We have to get you to safety first. Shakti said as Chuchi nodded, knowing why. Why is that? Naruto questioned, not knowing much about the Pantaran government or laws. Representative Aoi Hazan was killed shortly before we arrived. The senator was still in the process of choosing her successor. As such, Chuchi, as his understudy, Chuchi must act as the temporary senator of Pantor, due to Hiru being incapacitated. Shakti answered, earning a whistle from Naruto. That was one big responsibility being put on her. What about the parliament? Naruto questioned as Chuchi frowned. The senator's poisoning, although tragic, might be able to be put to good use. I can issue a state of martial law under the pretext of conspiracy against the Republic. This way, I can legally freeze all assets of the royal bank and issue warrants for the members of parliament wanted for questioning. Chuchi answered as the group, escorted by guardsmen, exited the hospital, and heading back to Chuchi's office to inform the people of Pantor of the martial law. A few hours later, the response to the martial law was as predicted. The people were very unnerved by it, but most obeyed nonetheless. But the parliament was in complete chaos, as the various politicians of the various factions debated on the legality of it all. This is a gross attack on the Pantoran constitution. What does she have? One of the politicians shouted out while others rolled their eyes. The senator was poisoned. That is a justifiable cause to issue martial law to find the culprits. One of the liberals stated, with the Pantoran constitution suspended due to the martial law. They saw an opportunity to undermine the parliament and enact laws to ensure the dominance of the royalist faction. However, this debate was putting those plans on hold. Gentlemen, we must appoint a new senator. Clearly the current one is in no position to represent the Pantoran people. One of the neutralists spoke. Installing one would be easy for them. Installing a neutralist would be even better. Bah! Her decree has all but paralyzed the parliament. With the constitution suspended, we have no power until such time has passed that the martial law has been lifted. Another bitter politician pointed out as the debate raged on. Outside the parliament building. The parliamentary building that housed the parliament was quite extravagant. It was large, with many steps leading up to it, and where the most esteemed politicians of the government went to carry out their elected duties. It was said that never in Pantoran history has a soldier set foot into the parliamentary building, but like they say, there's a first for everything. Gunships belonging to the Pantoran military was quickly dispatched to the parliamentary building on Chuchi's orders as acting senator. On board one of these gunships was Naruto, who was thinking back to the plan they had concocted. Flashback. You want me to lead a battalion of soldiers into the parliamentary building and arrest pretty much the whole parliament? Naruto questioned, wondering if he had heard right. Chuchi nodded at his question, with Shakti supporting her. From what I have been informed about you, you have more experience with leading soldiers than Master Shakti, no offense. Chuchi answered as Shakti waved her off. In fact, Shakti was very pleased with the experience Naruto had when it came to commanding others. Yeah, but that was one battle. Why not use one of the Pantoran generals? He questioned as Chuchi shook her head. They cannot be trusted. We don't know how deep this conspiracy goes. I don't trust the high commanders of the Pantoran military, as they could be secretly working for the wrong people. She answered as Naruto huffed in acceptance. He would lead the battalion into the parliament. This battalion of soldiers is actually comprised of senatorial guardsmen under my command. They're waiting for you outside by the gunships. Chuchi stated as Naruto nodded and headed off. The senatorial guard are handpicked by the senator from the various branches of the military. They are extremely well trained. So, you shouldn't have to do too much, Naruto. She stated as Naruto inside. He grabbed his old Jedi robe and slipped it on over his simple outfit. Well, I'll just meet up with this battalion and judge them for myself. Naruto began marching off. You sure he will be okay? Chuchi questioned, turning to Shakti, who smiled and nodded. I have faith in him. Shakti answered as Chuchi nodded and watched his retreating figure, he heads on her heart. Please be safe. She thought, hoping nothing would go wrong. Flashback end. Naruto was broken out of his thoughts as the gunship jerked, signifying it had landed. The doors quickly slid open as the guardsmen poured out of their transports, quickly getting in their formation, which consisted of rows and columns. Naruto stood in front of them as he stared up at the large building and the steps, lots and lots of steps. He sighed as he grumbled about them not putting turbo elevators or something. Turning around, he began to address his battalion of blue robe. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I have been assigned as your commanding officer for an undetermined period. Our mission, by order the temporary Senator Chuchi, is simple: arrest the parliament. Every member, regardless of age or affiliation. If they resist arrest or try to flee, stun them. Understood. Naruto questioned as the guardsmen stomped their right foot on their ground, their rifles held up next to them, showing that they were ready for what was to come. Naruto turned on his head and began to march up the steps, his cloak fluttering in the wind, while the synchronized marching of the guardsmen could be heard rather loudly with each step they took up the building. As they reached the final steps, they found themselves unopposed as the parliamentary guard's authority was superseded by the mere presence of the senatorial forces. Entering the parliamentary building, Naruto led the battalion of guardsmen into the chamber that contained the parliament itself. What is the meaning of this? One of the politicians yelled out as the guardsmen readied their blasters, while arresting the politicians. By the authority of the Supreme Chancellor, this parliament is hereby temporarily dissolved. I have a list of over 200 members that have warrants for their arrest. Your assets have been frozen, and a thorough investigation will be carried out by the Republic to root out the enemies of Pantor. Naruto answered as a few politicians resisted. Has the senator gone mad? She is the evil that will destroy the stability we have achieved. A neutralist shouted out as Naruto narrowed his eyes. Be quiet. If you've done nothing wrong, you have nothing to fear. One of the Labour Party members shut down the conversation. Actually, my orders are to bring in all other members of the parliament for questioning. Your constant battle for influence has harmed your own people, those who elected you to ensure continued growth and stability. Instead, you backstab each other for power. Naruto responded as the outraged politicians were dragged away by the guardsmen. It wasn't long before the chamber of parliament was completely emptied, with the few remaining soldiers gathering whatever information they could find. With his assignment complete, he began to head back to report. 1 week later. A week had passed, and martial law was no longer in effect. The parliament had been reinstated, with their powers limited for the time being, until special elections could be held to replace the 216 traitors. After having their power bases dissolved and arrested on charges of attempted murder, treason, embezzlement, and conspiracy, of course. However, they would also be set on trial in the Republic Grand Courts, meaning they had to be taken to Coruscant. So, this is Ichuchi said sadly as Naruto nodded, a bit saddened as well. He had gotten close to the understudy, enough to call her a good friend. Yeah, Naruto responded as they watched a small fleet of Republic transports being loaded up with the prisoners. It would also be the same transport that would lead them back home. Will I see you again? Chuchi questioned as Naruto thought deeply. I guess if you ever become a senator for real, we will. Naruto answered as Chuchi closed her eyes and let out a small smile. It seemed like she had another motivation to becoming a politician and a senator. I hope we do, she whispered as Naruto turned to her with a sad smile. I have to go now, he stated as she nodded. With their final goodbyes, Naruto boarded the transport, his master waiting for him to board the transport before taking off in her Delta 7 interceptor. Soon, the transport departed as Chuchi smiled and turned on her heel with a new reason to achieve her dream. To see Naruto once again. Aboard the transport. Naruto felt the transport take off as he made his way to its bridge. Despite his lack of political knowledge, one thing still bothered him. After he and his master had landed, the attacks on the senator's life stopped. Yet, according to Chuchi, the embezzlement never stopped. He wondered just what they were using that money for. He was brought out of his thoughts as he passed the holding cells. You won't get away with this, Jedi. One of the neutralists yelled from his cell as Naruto snorted. Yeah, right. Sure, we won't. We're utterly doomed, and the Chancellor will have us arrested as soon as we land on Coruscant. He mocked. But just then the ship shook. Naruto cursed his mouth as the lights went out, with the red emergency lights coming online. He quickly ran to the bridge, wondering what was going on. What the hell, he stopped as he entered the cockpit. They were under attack by a large fleet headed by 2 interceptor IV frigate ships favored by the Black Sun pirates. It was likely they were hired to kill the 2 Jedi and free the captive congressman. Suddenly, those missing funds made sense to him. They had launched several boarding pods that attached themselves to the various transports. Naruto, I want you to guard the prisoners. I'll handle the pirates. Shakti spoke over the intercom. Naruto acknowledged the order and quickly ran back to the transport's brig. As he passed through the ship, it became apparent that he was the only one on the ship that was still combat capable. Reaching the brig, the hallway in front of him was being sliced open by a boarding pod. Readying himself, he quickly activated his saber, as about a dozen pirates jumped out of the pod. They quickly began to fire at Naruto, who responded with deflecting their blaster fire back right at them, killing quite a few. The other boarding party had come in behind him and began firing. He quickly charged at them, opting to use his offensive ability, striking down all the members of the boarding parties. That is, until his saber was suddenly blocked. What? He shouted as he jumped back to avoid blaster fire. Naruto looked at the bounty hunter before him. He was wearing a dark blue Mandalorian light-style armor with the shoulder pads removed, revealing the plasteel belts around his shoulders, holding the chest plate up. His bodysuit was a dark gray, almost black. His visor was also tinted a red color. He hadn't seen a Mandalorian bounty hunter in a while, especially one using a vibro sword made from Mandalorian iron. Who are you? Where did you get that sword from? Naruto questioned as the man said nothing, but charged at him. Naruto quickly dodged the unusually fast bounty hunter's attempt to stab him. Quickly spinning back around, he delivered a roundhouse kick into the hunter's chest, sending him crashing into the side of the hallway. Seeing other pirates heading his way, Naruto quickly sent a large wave of force, and threw them all back to the hallway, breaking the backs of most of them. He turned his attention to the bounty hunter he had knocked down and his eyes widened, the bounty hunter was gone. But he didn't get to finish as he ducked down to dodge the Mandalorian vibrosphere, and quickly rolled forward before he turned to face his opponent. Eyes narrowed, he observed the elite pirate. This was no ordinary bounty hunter. I don't know who you are or where you came from, but you won't be going back in one piece. Naruto stated as he readied himself to attack. He quickly charged forward, lightsaber in hand. Against another swordsman, and in these tight quarters, Naruto chose to rush forward in a Form 2 cadence. In his initial assault, he managed to land a glancing blow in on the man's chest plate, but he also received a pretty nasty gash on his left shoulder. Naruto charged in again, maintaining his offensive. The man's defense was impeccable, deflecting every blow and not once being disarmed. Was he force sensitive? Then, suddenly, Naruto's focus shifted from who he was fighting to how they were fighting. The Mandalorian was fighting just like him. He was using Form 2 Makashi. This all but confirmed it. He was facing as someone trained in the Jedi arts. The bounty hunter began to dodge his strikes with great agility, and as Naruto pulled himself back to reassess his opponent, the bounty hunter charged forward, his forearm covered in what seemed to be lighting. The Sith Naruto barely sputtered out the words. He was somewhere between utter shock and complete surprise. His grunted in pain as a powerful electric shock surged through his body. His mind nearly fading out of consciousness. Was that some new weapon? A shock glove or something? He asked himself as he stumbled away from his attacker. Looking up at the bounty hunter, he realized he had opened all of the cell's ray shields and was already running away. Even Naruto couldn't have pulled off such a feat of speed. Before he could react, the bounty hunter had already retreated into the boarding pod. Wait! Naruto shouted, attempting to stop the bounty hunter, but the pod detached from the transport ship, causing everything inside to be pulled out into the vacuum of space. Naruto too was being sucked out, but managed to grab onto a latch. However, the prisoners were not so lucky. All the prisoners to be pulled out screaming into the vacuum of space, suffocating them all. It wasn't long before the ray shielding came into action, stopping anything else from being sucked out. Damn it! Naruto shouted as he slammed his fist on the metallic surface of the ship. This was an unprecedented turn of events. The prisoners were killed, thus sailing their objective in a sense, and that bounty hunter. That bounty hunter, the next time I see them, I will have my answers. Naruto thought as he stood up. It was best he reported to his master and inform her on this new development. At least the courts will have a field day with the rest of them, he thought. Guess that was the only silver lining. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below, and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.